Hsing-ay Hsu, who is a Steinway artist and graduated the music school. Hsing-ay?
Thanks so much for having me, Darlene. And I'm excited to share my, my adventures in the fields of arts. I came to Yale because I wanted specifically to study with one teacher, Professor Claude Frank, who had a very specific lineage with the history of piano performance, and so it was very, very specific. After I graduated, I did some of the touring and recording thing that a soloist is expected to do, but then at the same time I started teaching and organizing some concerts at my church locally, and I started getting kind of a vision for a broader sense of who I was as a person and how I can relate to my community outside of this very narrow focus that I had. My second chapter, I guess, would be that an opportunity came up to direct the program at University of Colorado. And so my husband and I went out there from New Haven, and we stayed there for 14 years, where I was artistic director of Pendulum New Music, and I think I supervised over 500 student premieres, and that is coaching, working with them on communications, and how do they present and connect to an audience. And I also was able to bring in some national and international artists to be role models and to have a dialogue about what's going on internationally outside of the small community that we had on campus. I guess the third chapter would be that I started feeling like I wasn't connecting with my audiences because they didn't have a language with which to talk or to absorb the information that I was spewing out. And in music, it's not like art where you can just sit there and reflect. It's gone. Like it happens, it's done. And I think that sometimes if you hear it, 3 times, only then do you start to understand the layers. And so I started something called conscious listening workshops, where we took apart the layers and then we built it back again, and then we tried to talk about where can we be more mindful, where can we create different mental models, and where can we find creative associations. And there's the interdisciplinary theme coming up again there. And then the fourth chapter, I think, is this past year. I've been in new roles as a caregiver for my parents, trying to help my daughter go through the whole college application chaos. There's a lot of different things happening in my life, and I wanted to be able to relate the skills that we have in the arts to all the other disciplines out there. And so the idea of artistic intelligence, which I hope we can get into later, is something that I think we need as human beings in the AI age, in any field. And I think that it's important for us, if we're going to be an artist, to be able to articulate that verbally as a concept that can help anybody pursuing any field. And so we were chatting earlier about how people may feel guilty taking an arts class, but actually it is perhaps one of the most fundamental ways that we can process what's going on around us. And to have personal meaning in our lives, we require this kind of skill in whatever it is that we're doing.